Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's Town of Abingdon Council meeting, Thursday, October the 16th, 2025. Kim, if you'll please call roll.
Ms. Quetch. Here. Ms. Pillion.
Here.
Vice Mayor Austin.
Present.
And Mayor Anderson.
Here. Now, if everyone would please rise, I'll lead us into a Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm sure everyone's had a minute to look over the agenda today. If I could have someone make a motion to approve the agenda for today's council meeting.
So moved.
Do you have a second?
Second. Excuse me.
It's okay.
Any
Ms.
further?
Quest got me on that.
Excuse me. Mayor Anderson, can we make an agenda item for Mr. West to present first,
Yes, we sure can.
right after public comments? Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Then I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the stated amendment, please.
Thank you. Second.
If there's no further discussion, Kim, if you'll please call roll.
Ms. Quetch. Aye. Ms. Pillion.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Austin.
Aye.
And Mayor Anderson.
Aye. And now we are going to go to public comment. If I call your name out for the public comment, if you'll please come state your first and last name and your mailing address. Looks like we have a couple people signed up today. Miss Julianne Miles, if you'll please come forward. And please state your mailing address.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Julianne Miles. My address is 384 Oakmont Drive, Abingdon, Virginia. And I'm here to make public comment today about the first reading you have coming up on this ordinance about permitting for, read it correctly, it's an amendment to Chapter 18 businesses, Article 4 peddlers, vendors, and canvassers. So there's a couple of places in this that I think need some attention before you move forward with this. Most specifically, I'm sure that in Abingdon, we're not really trying to infringe on people's political speech, but I see in here under Section 18-133, application for a permit, it specifically says in subparagraph C, this is a new...
What was that section, excuse me?
18-133.
133.
In subparagraph C, it says, any person seeking to engage in the business of a vendor or canvasser in the town shall register for a permit with the town by completing an application form by the town manager. Now, in the paragraph just before that, in paragraph 18-132, exemptions from permit requirements, A4 says canvassers of religious, political, and written materials are exempt from the requirement. But then in this next section, it says they have to have a permit. So I think it needs to be clarified there to say canvassers, except as identified in 18-132A4, where it specifically says canvassers are exempt, because there's a conflict there. There's a couple of different places in there where there are requirements for canvassers to have permits, but they're exempt. It also lists them as exempt later in 18.1 through 145, exemptions from the provisions of this article. It's listed down there in subparagraph G, persons engaged in canvassing for or on behalf of political candidates are exempt from this. But the requirement for them to submit a permit is specifically listed somewhere else. So I just think we need to clarify that so that we're not infringing on our canvassers' ability to do what they need to do. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank
you, Ms. Miles. And next up will be for public comments will be Miss Mary Jennings. If you'll come forward, please, Miss Mary Jennings. And please state your mailing address for us.
160 Country Club Drive, Abingdon, Virginia, 24211. I also am concerned about the same ordinance. Basically, canvassing comes up in several places there. Now, I know that you all have run for office, and I would presume that you would be interested in speaking with your constituents. I think that you need to look at how canvassing is defined. Number one, it says on 132, exemptions for permit requirements. Number 4, it says canvassers, peddlers, or vendors of religious, political, or written materials. Canvassers can also talk, I think. So I'm not sure that's the best limitation, okay? I don't know who canvassers would be. In the later sections, it's not clear to me where it keeps saying canvassers can't do this, canvassers can't do this. I don't understand who besides vendors of religious, political materials would be canvassing. So the whole ordinance seems to me muddy. It is not clear. There's another section where it talks about, well, I think in 133, the permit process is way too detailed and cumbersome. It also talks about a permit for every canvasser of an organization. So it's a difficult application process, and then like each member of the League of Women Voters would be required to fill out this 30 days before. It also says in 134 that the town manager has 45 days to respond to the application, but it also says that the application can be made up to 30 days before the event. So that's a little bit of a contradiction, I think. I am also concerned about the use of streets and other public places, vending or canvassing from a stationary location. That's in, 137. It talks about a stationary location on any sidewalk less than 5 feet of the sidewalk remains clear for pedestrian traffic. Well, since I think a lot of sidewalks are only 5 feet wide, I'm not sure that that works too well. I'm not sure whether 137 applies to rallies or protests. Does that apply to rallies, for example, at the market? You know, how does this work is what I'm basically saying. So I do think that I am very glad that Mr. Austin recommended that ordinances have more than one reading, because, you know, this is sloppy. I mean, as a former English teacher, the suggestion at the end, which I can't find right now, anyway, has two true grammatical errors in it. One, it should be if, etc. And so, anyway, I'd like to speak briefly to the noise ordinance, which I think may not be on the agenda tonight. But anyway, I think that the decibel level needs to be considered, and whether something is inside or outside. I know that people on Bradley Street have been bothered by noise. I know that the Summers rooftop was a noise factor, and so it is something that needs to be considered. I don't know how you measure noise, but I bet there's a technology that can do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And that will close the public comments for today. Now we will have Mr. West come forward, please. Mr. West, if you'll state your name and state your organization, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, Sam West, People Incorporated, People Incorporated Financial Services. Let's see if I know how to, smart enough to work the clicker, and I am. So I just go. Is that it? All right. So the folks can hear me out there. More for you all, and a little bit for you. You know, People Inc.'s been around for a good 60 years. Folks got a lot of that low-income housing and our Head Start, community services. I'm in the financial services arm, and I actually have some folders I was going to give you all, but I'll go ahead and just talk it. I'll give it to you afterwards here. But I'm the business development and lending officer, so I'm in the community economic development arm. So specifically, we do a lot of business loans and some other great financial products. We are a CDFI, so we love our acronyms in the financial world. Community Development Financial Institution that's been around 30 years, just about. Kind of like a subsidiary of the Treasury Department. We provide responsible capital, financial education, technical assistance, and things like that. We are independent, nonprofit entities typically, and our ultimate goal is to increase entrepreneurship and capital where it cannot be provided elsewhere. So we're kind of that stopgap between where banks won't lend for startups and things like that. So primarily what I do is a lot of just startup funds for typically around 10,000 to 50,000. We can lend up more, but here's some of our specific CDFI outcomes in the past 2 years. Business loans, we've got just a little over under $2 million out there in the community. We do have a personal loan product as well, and over close to 18,000 hours technical assistance, jobs, businesses. So we're out there in community every day. Our service region specifically is 40 counties in the state. So, we started 60 years ago, just a small part in Southwest Virginia. We've now jumped up to the Nova region up in some of the Shenandoah Valley. I'm pretty much Lee County out to Bedford, so anybody here or elsewhere that might need some assistance, just connect me. Again, we're out there to make the connections to the resources, whether or not we give you a loan specifically. We're out there for assistance. So what do we do? Good question. We are a non-traditional lender, essentially. How we kind of describe a holistic way of looking at a startup. We are non-profit. We are mission-driven lenders. So we are typically grant-funded. We are focused on community economic development. We are more flexible. We do a lot in partnerships with other entities, whether it be a traditional bank or another nonprofit. We provide training and technical assistance. So again, a lot of times folks come to me and they want to get started, but we might end up working a year before we get them across the finish line. It's not always, again, about that financial end game. Sometimes they just need the right connections. We do funding for startups. Specifically, I'm going to talk about our business lending. And the business lending does not have to be a startup, but again, that's typically what we deal with. It can be an expansion. 0 to 350, never had anybody come for a $0 loan yet, but we'll see.
Good terms, though.
Yeah. The terms is typically, I'm going to get a little bit into the weeds here on some of the terms. It's 72 months, unless secured by real estate. It's a fixed rate. It's a very simple, clean product. If there's one thing I would tell any business entrepreneurs listening now would be don't go out there and get those QuickBook loans or those Square loans or anything, those quick, easy fin product loans out there. I deal with that a lot. They do not have fixed rates. They have, changing rates are very straightforward. Come to us first. Your prepayment penalty does not happen with us if you can get it paid off at any point. And it does need to be secured. There is collateral and a guarantor involved, typical to a non-traditional entity, but that we look at risk a little differently. So sometimes that one can outweigh the other. So all loans must be secured by collateral. I do get that a lot of questions when they come to us. We do need, as they say, a skin in the game, quote unquote. But we do have a lot of flexibility in that when the way we look at things. Third-party agreements, we can collateralize on the purchase of the product. First, second deed to trust, UCC lien, all that fun stuff. So there's some of the technical things, but I'm happy to talk to anybody about that, especially when you're dealing with 10,000 and under. We wouldn't anticipate anybody putting their house up for that, right? So there's a lot of ways we can work together to get you where you need to be. Our application requirements, again, go online is the best way to get application, download it. A lot of this is what you're going to provide to a regular bank, tax returns, proof of income, income statement, balance sheet, all that good stuff. Your startup will help you get all that together. Big thing is our business plan and 2-year cash flow projections. Those are the kind of things that we work with, primarily with folks on. But why those are so important is because, again, as a CDFI, we can look at a year or less of revenue, especially for, again, smaller Main Street businesses, which I know is important here to Abingdon. I've helped a lot here in town as well, and we do consider cash flow projections. So that's the part that makes us a little different and why we lean so heavily into their importance. Process for us, essentially, just to give kind of a bird's eye view of the way that it looks with us. You do all those kind of steps. You go to underwriting. We go to committees. We don't have an algorithm. We put you in and say yes or no. We will look at it from all different angles and try to find a way to make it work. We will take the time to do that. Essentially, it's 2 to 3 weeks typically for a business loan that comes across our desk. Can be more if those client's timeline, as you can see, can be a little further. As I said, if you're pre-venture, we might work with the Small Business Development Center here up at Virginia Community College. We might get you connected with somebody, other local entrepreneurs, so that timeline might be quicker. But throughout the process, we do provide technical assistance throughout it all, and that comes in many different forms. So I've been talking about our business product, our financial product for business loans. We do have personal loans as well. It's kind of set there to keep folks away from those payday lots, those quick, plays. Like do a lot of, reasonable auto purchase loans, improvement bills, and those are only $25,000 is where we max out on those. We also have a Rise Match savings program. So you have to be an active TANF client. You have to be employed. It is a referral product, but it does help you build up your savings for folks. And there's an eligibility requirement behind that. We also have a Ready Set Credit Building program. That's for folks for 18 to 24 years old. It's an unsecured product to help you establish, real credit. My grandfather told me to buy get that credit card and pay it off every month. I was fortunate to get that advice. Not everybody gets that advice, or I actually followed it through with it. Not everybody does that or understands how linked it is with your personal and your business. In order to get a good business loan, you got to have good personal credit, right? So we find we get to folks a little too late in the process. So if you know anyone interested in working on that program, please let us know. And our smaller dollar loans is our only unsecured product. If you know someone out there who's having trouble getting the bills paid, or just they're in that tight spot, that's a good product for them. And it is flexible, it is unsecured, but you still do go through the similar application process like what at a bank for a consumer loan. Of course, commercial lending is just a little more complicated, so there's always a little more involved in that. One thing I do want to mention is our Initiate program. This is a really cool platform we just rolled out this year. It is a free business resource learning platform. Lots of great stuff on there, how to break-even analysis, your profit and loss statement, you name it. It is a free community resource. We want to connect people to this resource and use it at their own pace. I work a lot with folks when they one-on-one using this platform. It is right here. If you're online or anyone in here who would be interested, you just go up there and get yourself the code, and we'll send you an invite to that and get you connected. So that's it. Keeping it pretty simple, straightforward. Any questions?
Do you have a business card?
I do have business card. I have business card, and I'll give you some folders here.
Thank you.
Yeah, for you in just a second. But yeah, best way, if anyone's out there, again, I think I put my colleague's number on here, or contact down on here, but you're welcome to contact that number there, and I appreciate your time. But if you have any questions, just contact us directly. Give us a call. We're right down there on West Main Street, and anybody in Abingdon, best way, between 8 and 4:30, we're in the office there. Not the big building, but the other one, the smaller one, past the fairgrounds if you're going west. So, but I appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
We appreciate People Inc.
Yeah.
I've done a couple of things, a couple of months for People's Inc. And
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that's in my community that People's Inc. has helped out. So
Yeah.
thank you all for
Yeah.
the great job that you are doing, and thank you for the presentation today.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, Mr.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Sam.
Thank you.
moving forward, we have no proclamations today. And we have no one signed up for public hearing today. And that's going to send us to our next thing on our agenda, which is resolution. And we have one resolution today, and that is going to be the resolution authorizing a reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of the individuals responsible for the graffiti or other defacement of public buildings. And we have Mike Cochran, the town manager, to speak on that.
Yes, sir, thank you. We had covered this briefly at the last council meeting, and this was just to give us a memorialized piece of paper so we could have it in the record. And what I would suggest is that as we put a 2,500, if on an annual basis, I doubt we'll even come close to that, but just so we have a placeholder number, and we'll just use budgeted funds for that. And that way we'll have the resolution in place. And this is, like I said at the last meeting, it was mainly to make sure that when we do have an issue, that we have the ability to get public, get information back. And it's historically, it's been very successful when you take that approach.
Yeah.
So this just gives us a resolution on the books.
So after that being said, do we have a motion to make?
Let me ask,
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Cochran,
Yep.
if you fill in the blank in number 1, the town hereby authorizes monetary reward in the amount of up to blank for information. Sounds
Yeah.
like that, if you put 2,500 in there, you'd be authorizing up to 2,500 to an individual and not annually.
Well, so the objective would be to have an annual amount, just as a placeholder number. The general amount that I would be thinking for the types of stuff that we're looking at is $50, $100, $200 at the most, something like that. Because what we're dealing with generally are young offenders that are doing it, and
Yes.
yeah.
Is there a place for the 2,500 that you mentioned that I've missed?
Uh,
The only blank I see is in number 1.
Yeah,
And that would be per individual.
yeah. No, I wouldn't go not for that type of
Right, I
Yeah.
didn't think so.
Yeah, yeah. So
So maybe
if-
250 is a maximum?
yeah, that's fine too.
Yeah, 250.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
All right.
all right. And then perhaps we should add another paragraph in to set that annual budget, that 2,500 you're suggesting.
Yeah, it's a continuation number 1. Just put an annual max of 2
Yes,
million. All right.
Yes, sir. And I would also suggest under number 2, it says town manager or designee administer the program with the Abington Police Department and shall determine. My suggestion is to add in their sole discretion, so that you've got the sole discretion to make those decisions, the eligibility of the claim.
Okay.
I think that could be helpful if somebody came back and said, well, I think I'm owed money for what I
Yeah.
said or did.
Mhm.
But if it says in your sole discretion, then that'd be totally up to you.
Okay.
That'd be the end of it.
Great. Thanks. This while you're an attorney and I'm not.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Would clean that one up.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yes, sir.
With those changes that Vice Mayor Wayne Austin just stated, do I have someone that'd like to make a motion on the resolution authorizing a reward for the information leading to the arrest and conviction of individuals responsible for graffiti and other defacement of public buildings?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Kim, if you'll please call roll.
Ms. Quetch?
Aye.
Ms. Pillion?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Austin?
Aye.
And Mayor Anderson.
Aye. Now we'll move down to the first reading of ordinance, and this is going to be a reading of ordinance as we've had the two ladies come in for the public comment. This is the first reading of the hearing of the amendment to Chapter 18, Business, Article 6, Peddlers, Vendors, and Canvassers. And we have Mike Cochran here to speak on that as well, too.
Yes, thanks. I appreciate the comments from the public earlier. The intent behind this, I know specifically about the religious exemption and the political exemption. The specific purpose for this ordinance was to, we've been getting hit a lot with the requests for solicitors in town, and unfortunately, they tend to be very persuasive. And a lot of times when we get them, we'll get people that will have sometimes 8 or 10 people requesting under one company. And when you run their histories, you find that hardly any of them live anywhere near close to here. And then they're going in, and I know in one particular incident where the person signed a 25-year sales for solar panels. You know, the person was 71, so when they're 96, they'll actually get discounted electricity, which, you know, is kind of it's a tough sell. But unfortunately, when you get the older people, sometimes they get taken advantage of. And given our demographics in town with a lot of people with a lot of experience, the intent was to restrict the people going door to door soliciting. The folks that are doing, constitutionally protected things such as religious and or political things, that's not what this is intended for. This is strictly for the ones that want to go door to door and sell stuff. Because we've gotten them in the last couple of months. We've had various types of communication stuff, the cable type or fiber, people trying to sell that. The solar is perennial. And then we've gotten vacuum cleaners as well. And you know, there's just the never-ending limit of people that want to solicit stuff. I completely understand the ones that do yeah, it's just the door-to-door, and we get blown up by them. And Holbrook gets, I don't know if the chief here or not.
He's not here.
No, but he gets hit with them quite a bit because the last time we had put it out there, we had approved a couple based on the ordinances that existed. And we put something on their website or their social media to let people know that it is authorized. And immediately the comments weren't positive because they do a great job out there, but they also get hit with it. And so, and a lot of times the solicitors, in fact, they'll often comment, oh well, you know, I've applied, or the town said we could. Well, no, they can't. They didn't, and we don't. And so after discussion with this, trying to figure out how we can address the issue, the idea is to just strictly prohibit the door-to-door solicitation other than those that are constitutionally protected. And with respect to the sidewalks, most of our sidewalks are 5 to 8 feet, depending on what part of town you're at. The objective there is to not completely block somebody's ability to go by. We have folks in town quite a bit that hand out religious material, and that's perfectly fine. But it's just the ones that if someone is, I guess the scenario would be if someone's trying to sell you something that's standing in your way is what it's meant to protect. But again, we're thankful that we don't have many of those issues, but this is really meant to stop those. So if we do have issues where we need to clean up the language, we can certainly clean up the language. I know this has gone through legal review, but there's always, there's always.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's something I think that we do need to clean the language up a little bit on that. And I'm glad that the ladies came forward and brought this to our attention, but I don't think the ladies knew what the intent was to this first. It might be something that's going on that's not going on in you all's neighborhood, that's going on elsewhere in the town of Abingdon, and this is something that we're working on. And like I said, this is a first reading of this. Some of the language does need to be cleaned up, and we will work on that. And, you know, as far as I'm concerned, me on the council here, like this is something that, you know, we'll have a second reading on. I would like to have a second reading on with the language cleaned up to verify what exactly we're trying to get to the bottom of.
And I'm assuming that, and this is, I won't say I'm assuming, I'm going to ask the question. The 5 feet is probably because of ADA compliance, right? I mean, don't we have rules about signage and displays on the sidewalk that are similar?
Yeah, the sidewalks have to be a certain size, and yeah.
Yeah, and you can't, I know that we've run into this, we've discussed this before, where stores have had displays, and we've had to ask them to move because they didn't leave enough space for somebody who might be disabled to get through.
Yeah.
And so when I read it, that's what I thought you were getting at. You know, I know we certainly have to have rules and regulations, but we don't. I've knocked a lot of doors in my lifetime.
Oh, for sure,
So-
yeah. And it's like,
That's
political,
hard
yeah.
enough as it is,
Yeah,
right? We
yeah.
don't want to make that any harder for
No,
people.
absolutely, yeah, the
Yeah.
political religious absolutely allowed. I mean, in
Yeah.
fact, I
Yeah.
think one of the speakers knocked on my door a couple of years ago, so I mean, it's perfectly legal
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
perfectly allowed. The whole idea really was is the folks that are selling to the folks, because they can really be really persistent. And, you know, with the review process that we have in place, we've had that for quite a number of years. But the challenge is that while some folks that sell things door to door or whatever are well-intentioned, other ones just really aren't. And we review every one of those ones before we grant before we would grant a permit. And some of the ones you honestly wouldn't want to knock at your door.
And I'm all in favor
Yeah.
of that, because I don't want scammers in my neighborhood. And I don't want scammers in neighborhoods of elderly people in the community that could take advantage of them. And like I said before, I'm glad that the ladies came forward today, but now you have a clear understanding of where we're going with this. There is some stuff that we need to clean up in this, but it's for a good cause. It's not for religious, it's not for political, it's for a good cause. It's to keep our community and our town safe from people that are trying to take advantage of people in our community.
And frankly, I love it when people come and actually know what we're doing and have actually read the ordinances. It doesn't
Yeah.
happen very often, and I think it's great when people participate, because so often people will ask a question and I'll say, well, we talked about that 2 meetings ago, and they
Yeah.
don't, they completely missed it. So I'm really glad you all came and brought your concerns.
I think what we're saying is that the purpose and intent of the ordinance is well-intentioned.
Yes.
To protect residents of the town. However, the way this ordinance is presented, as Mayor says, needs to be cleaned up in some respects. I think that we need to work on it more, and I'd like to, perhaps have some sort of a, maybe not full council, but individuals, some sort of a work session with you, Mr. Cochran,
Sure.
between now and the next meeting,
Mhm.
so that we can sit down and look at these issues.
Yeah, absolutely,
And
yeah.
I would say, secondly, it brings to light the other comment that was made today. We absolutely, and I see the recommendation of administration to waive the second reading. We absolutely don't need to do that unless it's some dire emergency.
Yeah.
And this is not a dire emergency.
Exactly.
Well, no, it's not a dire emergency, but if we could get it fixed before the second read, if it is pushed through today or passed through today, the reason is we have several people that have inquired about getting solicitation permits.
Understand?
Yeah, and,
Understand.
yeah, so there's a little time sensitivity there.
Perhaps it's well-intentioned, though.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, well.
I mean, not everyone's a crook that applies for
Yeah.
Oh, no, yeah,
for a
no.
permit.
Yeah, no, I get it, but the ones that are applying are the ones that we're also getting a lot of complaints on.
Yeah,
It's this,
okay.
yeah, it's the same stuff where there was a message or a method to it, but if we, we can absolutely get together and
Sure.
clean up the language.
Sure.
And, yeah, part of it is because this ordinance was crafted to address the farmer's market and other peddlers, and it's kind of an odd,
Food vendors.
and food vendors, yeah, so it's not a standard straight-up ordinance on peddlers and solicitors, so it's kind of a,
And does it also involve protests, or do we have different ordinances that involve protests?
That's a good
Or
question.
demonstrations or that sort of thing?
yeah,
We have a different set of ordinances for that, correct?
Yeah, I believe that, yeah, because there's a permitting process for that, and they always get approved. The only thing that we'll look at on that is the amplification sometimes, because that can be loud and disruptive. So there's
Okay.
a separate thing for amplification.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify
Yeah.
that point too.
Yeah, no, we have quite a bit of freedom of expression in town, which is great, because it's it's just part of what we have in America, so.
Well, should we look at something more specific to the intention of this as opposed to this overall ordinance that we have here? What's the thought on that, Mr. Cochran?
As far as,
Ms. Pillion makes a good point, that this is kind of an all-inclusive ordinance that could apply to farmer's market, could apply to protests, could apply to a
Yeah.
lot of different things. Should we
It
try
really-
to hone in on what the
it needs to
real
be
problem is?
what I would like to see, looking at this and the complexity of it, is to break it out and have one that specifically addresses what we're talking about.
I
And the rest
agree.
of the stuff can stay.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
I'm
All
in
right,
favor
so-
of that too.
Yes, I like that idea.
And given that, can we just pull this for today and re-present on the 3rd?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, I don't like, I'm not a fan of being overly restrictive, but I also I mean, it's like being a parent. If you have exact rules that everybody knows what the rules are,
Mhm.
then they're easy to follow and there's not any question and it cuts off problems. at
No,
the
I
pass.
got you. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it makes sense. All right, so I will get something together and get it to you and set up a time.
Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Okay.
Thank
Yes,
you.
sir. So with that, we'll move on to second readings of ordinance, and we have none of those today. No consideration of bids, and we had Mr. Sam West come up earlier with the new business. We have no old business today. We have miscellaneous business and communication from our town manager, Mike Cochran.
I just wanted to point out, in case you haven't driven it, Valley through Walden Road is finally fully paved and it's
Thank God.
smooth.
Thank
So-
God. I
Looks
seen
great.
that.
Yeah.
I seen that. I actually took a stroll Tuesday.
Yeah.
I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday night after I got off work from the tavern, and I was very pleased with the way things are going on Walden Road and Valley Street, and I hope that, our taxpayers and everyone that uses that road understand that there's still some work to be done, but we are progressing in the right direction.
Yeah, thanks. No, and the one thing I want to say too is, as I always joke about, whenever you pave, you can look out for the speeding complaints.
Yes.
We did have one speed sign, pardon me, the one that was down there close to 11th Park. And for some reason or another, only certain months it was mainly because it wasn't getting sunlight. Pardon me, so we moved it down a little bit further so to separate it from the intersection. And I just got the full read on that. So for from the 29th to the 19th, so 20 days worth, we had 9,000 cars, and on a 24-hour day. So you had the speed average was 24, and the 85th percentile was 28, and that's on a 25 road. So while there still may be one or two that goes above, statistically, that's a really good set of numbers. And thankfully, we have a pretty, folks drive pretty nice in town. But that's it. I was just glad they finally got it paved, and glad they did it when the school was on break, so we didn't have to disrupt traffic any more than other than that. So.
Speaking of that, Mr. Cochran,
Yes, sir.
since we approved our support of closing the road up near the high school
Mhm.
For the roundabout, I know that's been sent to the state. Has there been any problem with the state in agreeing that that be done while school is out?
No. In fact, they're out there. If you drive by, you'll see they've replaced some of the poles.
I've
They're
seen
doing
that.
prep work now.
Yes.
And that is, so I think it's not nearly as complex of a project as a lot of things we take on, because they're not dealing with rock. They're really just, I think they'll do as much prep work as they can, but I think they'll get it done. I didn't get any pushback on it, to answer your question.
Good, thank you.
Because if they did, it was going to be,
Yeah.
ugly.
Yeah. Anything else from you, Mike Cochran?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, sir. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, well, I'm gonna take the lead with a couple of things, if that's all right, that we've got going on. This weekend is gonna be a busy week for Washington County and the town of Abington as well. It is Emory and Henry's homecoming this week, so we should have large crowds in for that, in the town of Abington, as well as Clay Springs, Meadowview area, so, if anyone doesn't have anything to do, please come out and support, our local college, Emory and Henry, with their homecoming. It's also going to be Abington High Schools. This is their homecoming week as well. I think they have a football game on Friday, and they have the homecoming dance on Saturday night. I know that there's lots of kids that will be attending that. There'll be people probably taking pictures at the Martha along through Main Street. Just people, please have a caution out for the traffic. It should be heavy traffic this week in the town of Abington for those two things that are going on. One thing that I also would like to say, I'm sorry I didn't get to attend yesterday, but we had a firefighter by the name of Chip McCall, a gentleman that I went to school with. I apologize. His funeral and everything was yesterday, and God bless Chip McCall's family and the friends of the fallen firefighter. And also, my kids attend Watauga Elementary. We also got something going on out there this Saturday, and that's going to be their fall festival, and that will start at 4 p.m. and go till 7 p.m. If anyone doesn't have anything to do, I know Watauga Elementary would love to have everyone out there. Be lots of smiling faces out there, so please keep that in mind as well, too. And we're just a couple weeks away from our town trick-or-treat going on here, and what's the date on that? Mike Cox?
25th.
The 25th, and the time that starts and ends is, I think it starts at 4 o'clock. And
Yeah.
and ends roughly at 7,
6:30.
Yeah, 4 to 6:30?
4 to 6:30, so, we got a couple of weeks for that, so trick or treat. I'll pass it on to my fellow council members, maybe Vice Mayor Austin. Do you have anything that you would like to add?
Yeah, the only thing I would remind folks of is Tuesday, November the 11th, we have the Veterans Ceremony at Veterans Park. It begins at 11 o'clock, so everyone is welcome to come out for that ceremony on Veterans Day.
Thank you for that reminder, Vice Mayor. Donna, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Thank you.
Miss Amanda Pillion?
I do not. Think you covered it.
All right. With that being said, we have no appointments to boards or committees. And with that being said, I'm going to close this session and call this meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming out today.